Most people think discipline is about white-knuckling your way through chores, but the top 1% know it's actually about environment design. After analyzing the daily rituals of modern high performers, I found they all mimic one ancient group: monks. The reason you're struggling with consistency isn't a lack of willpower, but rather it's because your brain is overstimulated by a world designed to break your focus. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to build a digital monastery that makes deep work feel automatic. If you don't master this shift, you'll stay trapped in the cycle of starting strong on Monday and burning out by Wednesday, which brings us to the core philosophy behind this transformation. Think about your current workspace for a second and ask if it's a minefield of distractions. Maybe there are random papers, a half-eaten snack, and your phone buzzing every 30 seconds, all of which drain your mental energy before you even start. You're using up your precious willpower just to ignore the mess. But monks understand that silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of focus. To get that, we need to build your cloister. The first step is the single-tasking altar technique, which means you designate one physical space where only one type of high-leverage work happens. Even if it's just a specific corner of your kitchen table, your brain needs to know that when you sit there, there's no scrolling, no snacking, and no emailing. You are there for one purpose only, and this creates a psychological trigger that pulls you into a flow state over time because you've removed the decision of what to do. Next, we have to talk about the device in your pocket and why we need to implement a digital blackout. This is a step-by-step process of stripping your phone of everything except essential tools, because if an app doesn't help you produce or provide genuine utility, it's just a dopamine trap. Move social media to a folder on the last page, or better yet, delete it and use the desktop version while turning off every single notification except for phone calls from 3 specific people. The goal is to kill the loop where you check your phone every time you hit a difficult thought. To make this stick, use the 10-second barrier rule to place physical obstacles between you and your bad habits. If you tend to check your phone, put it in another room, and if you snack when you should be writing, put the snacks on a high shelf behind a closed door. It takes about 10 seconds to get to them, and that small gap is usually enough for your prefrontal cortex to kick in and realize you don't actually want to do this. It bypasses the urge to procrastinate by making the bad choice slightly more inconvenient than the good one. We can also use sensory anchors to signal to your nervous system that it's time to work. Monks use incense or bells, but you can use a specific scent like a peppermint candle or a specific lo-fi track that you only play during deep work. When that smell or sound hits your senses, it acts as a shortcut to concentration, much like tuning an engine so everything runs smoothly. A common mistake I see is people trying to be disciplined in a messy, loud environment, which is like trying to hike a mountain in high heels. You're making it unnecessarily hard on yourself, and discipline shouldn't feel like a constant battle against your surroundings. What if you could sit down and feel an immediate calm urge to produce, rather than a frantic need to check your email? By building this architecture of silence, you stop fighting yourself and create a space where the right actions become the easiest actions. But even with a perfect environment, you still need a system to manage the internal static that pops up once you start. The monastic rhythm, mastering intentionality, and the fake start. Even with a perfect workspace, your mind can still feel like a crowded room, and this is where most people fail. They have the desk and the noise-canceling headphones, but their internal dialogue is screaming, which is a problem monks solve through a rigid, predictable rhythm. They don't wake up and wonder what to do first, nor do they negotiate with themselves about whether they feel like praying or working. They simply follow the clock, and this eliminates decision fatigue, which is the silent killer of modern productivity. Every time you have to decide what to work on, you drain a little bit of your cognitive battery, so by the time you actually start the task, you're already tired. To fix this, you need a non-negotiable hour dedicated to the one task that actually moves the needle for your long-term goals. For you, it might be coding, writing, or strategic planning. But whatever it is, you must protect this hour with your life every single morning. Before you check Slack, before you look at the news, and before you grab coffee, you do the work. By making it a rule rather than a choice, you bypass the part of your brain that wants to procrastinate because you aren't finding time for it. You are building your entire day around it. But let's be real. Sometimes the task feels too big, and the resistance is overwhelming when you sit down at your altar. This is when you use the fake start method by telling yourself you're only going to work for 60 seconds. Your brain can handle a minute of anything, and usually, the hardest part of discipline is simply breaking the static friction of starting. Once you've spent 60 seconds typing or sketching, the momentum takes over and you've tricked your nervous system into realizing the task isn't a threat. It's a low-stakes way to build high-level consistency. Between these deep sessions, you need the monk's walk, which isn't a break where you scroll through TikTok. It's a short, tech-free interval where you move your body and let your thoughts settle, whether you walk around the block or just stand by a window. This allows your brain to process the information you just handled, because without these gaps, you hit mental burnout by noon. Strategic minimalism beats a 20-step productivity routine every single time, especially since you won't follow a complex system when things get stressful. Keep it simple. 1 space, 1 hour, and 1 minute to start. When you align your daily actions with a singular vision, discipline stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a choice. You aren't forcing yourself to work. You're clearing the path to your purpose. Imagine finishing your day with a flat retention graph on your energy levels because you didn't spend the day fighting your own environment or indecision. You operated with intentionality. You finally have a clear framework to build high-level discipline without ever needing to step foot in a monastery. This process relies on intentionality and leverage, rather than just relying on raw effort to get things done. Your challenge for the next 7 days is simple, and it starts by choosing just one digital blackout rule to follow, while applying the fake start method to your hardest task every single morning. Most people will just watch this video and move on to the next thing, but if you want real optimization, you have to be the person who actually does the work. One small shift in your environment can change your entire trajectory, which means you have more control than you think. If you're ready to go deeper into your mindset, click the next video to learn how to master the law of reversed effort for even more focus. Keep growing.